Not yet.
Off the top of my head.
I mean, have we looked at it? Can you get me a,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you get the assessed value of those properties?
I mean, so I would say it's substantially higher. Substantially higher than the first batch.
Yeah, I mean, okay, now the other, okay, thank you very much, thank you, Ms. Noto. Thank you for that presentation. The other issue, gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, next month we're gonna put forward our budget, I think, right? So one big issue is gonna be just this. Is, I don't need to tell anybody here, our tax take in the town is, what was it this year, $700,000? How much do we tax the constituents in the town of Rye this year?
I'm sorry, Joe.
Taxes, 700, what's the number? 700 and some odd? Yeah. 760. Under $800,000. So if there's $3.5 million in property, so you can liquidate it, well, 30 cents in the dollar is over $1 million. One of the big issues for us to think about next month is whether we eliminate the town tax. Because presumably,
Well,
with
that's
our
a-
success in the end run, we're going to be able to think about that.
Oh,
Yeah, I would agree, but the sale of the real estate is a one-time event,
it's an anomaly.
okay, and it won't continue for the following year. And if you're thinking about developing a capital expenditure budget and spending, $400,000 in terms of revamping Rye Town Park, you might want to revisit some of those numbers.
And the other thing, if you get $1 million, the $700,000 is not income to us; it's cash. We're not reflecting any income on. When we receive the $700,000, that's just a transfer of an asset. We've
Right.
created a receivable for cash. That's not going to affect our bottom line.
It's going to affect our cash flow.
It's going to affect the cash, but
Right.
it's not going to affect our operating income.
It's not a recurring
which means
event.
to wipe out the town tax with this cash. You're
Well,
mixing apples and oranges.
No, not, well, anyway, we can, as we think about the budget, I fully understand it's a one-off event. Now, my expectation is in view of, and we'll see, we can take a bet and see if this rating's wrong, but in view of the fact that they haven't collected in Rem for 10 years, in fact, I remember last month, the question was, why are we even talking about this? And in fact, turns out we already own these properties. I think we need to anticipate. My full expectation is out of these 17 properties, we're going to end up with another 5 of them. And there's another 5, then another $2 million in value. And so my point is the fact that the town hasn't done squat for 10 years puts us in a potentially different situation than what we've seen in the past.
I understand that.
So I understand it's a one-off, but I'm simply saying, and then secondly, the goal is, our goal was always to eliminate town tax. So this is next year is our 3rd year, the following year is our 4th year. So I don't know when we're planning to get to zero town tax, but I think that the in-rem properties put us in a position to get there next year, and if we do everything right, we should be able to sustain that going forward. It's just something to think about.
And it's going to depend on the economy and how quickly it recovers as well.
Right, and I can't imagine there are mortgage tax, we can look at it, but I can't imagine getting worse again next year.
Well, this is the worst year. This is going to be the worst revenue year the town's had since I've been here.
Right, so it's 35 years.
The only thing that the only thing that
Thought he was older than that.
the only thing that this does, Joe, it gives us the cash now. That it gives us an asset now that we can invest. I know you're.
Maybe we could do some repairs and get some equipment that we haven't gotten.
We could
And
trade the
You're not
asset.
gonna do the tax. The question is, do you want a zero tax rate or do you want to spend?
Well, that's
eventually you're going to have to spend the money. You're going to go back to a zero tax rate. You don't improve anything. You're going to go back to having a tax again.
which is a good point to consider.
I don't think. I think there are a lot of issues that we need to talk about, and a lot of numbers we need to trade, but we're not going to resolve it here.
No.
Simply, Mr. Noto, is there any obligation if these houses are sold? Is there any, since there was no tax paid in connection with these houses over all these years, is there any obligation of the town to send any money to the schools or the villages, or are we guaranteed it?
Already paid it. You've already guaranteed it. You paid it.
What's going to happen, David, is when we take these taxes, I just spoke to Mr. Mecca about it, there's an entry that's got to be made on the books. Those receivables get written off, and now the town has an asset.
Right.
So receivable gets written off, now the town owns real property. And there's an actual accounting mechanism that has to happen.
But our expenses now went up because we have to pay for some of those taxes?
We've already paid the tax.
We have expenses now that we haven't budgeted for because we didn't think we were going to have this kind of asset to keep going. But I think that's gonna happen in January. There's a lot of issues to be talked about.
Beautiful.